busy kids, welcome to lesson 3 of the second module of level 7B. Today we're going to be learning something brand new. We are going to be learning how to play a blues scale. Now, blues is a style of music that you may have heard of or be a little bit familiar with. It's kind of within the same style as jazz. It's similar to jazz music and developed around the same time in the early 20th century by African Americans, primarily in the southern part of the United States. And it's a type of music that expresses emotion in it, and that emotion can be typically melancholy or sad. And so you'll hear sort of that sadness kind of in the scale today, or just a little bit of that like uneven kind of tone. Like I said, it's related to jazz music, so it's not going to be real steady. But we're going to learn about the notes that make up the blues scale today. We're going to practice comprising some of your own scales and playing through some blues scales and just getting familiar with it. So one of the reasons that I have you guys study so much theory, and we've been working with the circle of fifths, because once you understand the theory behind scales, you can really play with it and do lots of different things with it. So understanding the blues scale is one of those things that you can do once you understand a lot of the theory behind scales, okay? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at our keyboard together. All right, so I have a dish of M&Ms here to help me practice building my scales on the keyboard. If it's okay with your grown-up, you can use something, a treat like M&Ms or jelly beans, or something like that that fits on the key. If you don't have that, that's okay. You can use pennies if you have pennies, or you can just follow along. You don't have to build these on your keyboard either. But this right here is a C blues scale. And I want to talk to you about the formula that I used to build this scale. There's a couple of different ways to think of it, okay? So I'm going to give you each way, and the way that is easiest for you, that's the way you can go with, okay? So my C blues scale starts on C, okay? The first way is I can think of my third needs to be flat. So remember, we're thinking of C scales, no sharps or flat. That's why it's easiest to start with C. So if I'm going to take my third and make it flat, my next note's going to be this black key here, E flat. My next note is going to be the fourth, which is F, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. My next note is going to be the fifth, but make it flat. Okay, so here's my flat fifth. And then the next note is fifth. Then I have flat seventh, so my seventh note of the scale would be B, but I make it flat, so I have B flat. And then I have C for the top, okay? And that's the C blues scale. Now, that's one way to build it. To build it that way, you have to remember your key signatures. And hopefully you do remember your key signatures really well, because we've been doing tons of work with the circle of fifths. But if that isn't the easiest way for you to remember to build a blues scale, there's another way too, where you can think of the steps involved, okay? So let me go over that way with you. Again, let's do C scale again. I have my C starting here. I'm gonna go up a minor third. So a minor third would be to E flat. If I were to play those, you can hear how it's got a minor sound, not a blues sound, right? Da-da. And then I'm going to go up from my minor third, up a whole step. Whole step is this, right? 2 half steps is a whole step. So I have whole step, and then I'm going to do a half step and another half step. So I have whole step, half step, half step. After that, I have another minor third. So G to B flat is another minor third. And then I have a whole step up from my minor third, which is going to be the C, right? 2 half steps or a whole step. Okay, so that's the formula for building it. I'm going to collect these M&Ms, and I want to go over another one with you so that you get good practice building the scale, and we'll build it both ways that we did before. So let's do the D blues scales now. So we're gonna start on D. What sharps are in the key of D, or in our D major scale? If you said F sharp and C sharp, then you're correct, okay? So let's go through it, building it the first way. If you didn't like the first way, thinking through key signatures, you could just not listen to this part and wait till we go over it the next way. Start with my D. I'm going to go to a flat 3. Typically, the third note in my scale would be F sharp because I'm in D major, but I make it flat because I am building a D blues scale. So my next note would be F natural, okay? And then I play the 4, regular old 4. So I have this so far. And now I have a flat 5th. So it's going to be from here to here. Flat 5th, and then a regular 5th. So if I were to play those, has a cool bluesy sound, doesn't it? And then I'm gonna play a flat 7th. The 7th note of my scale would be a C sharp in the key of D. But if I'm making it a flat 7th, I'm gonna play C natural and then go up to my root again 1 octave higher. So this would be what my D scale would look like if I were following that formula, okay? I'm gonna take these away now and let's go through it the second way that I showed you, thinking of it in terms of half steps and whole steps and minor thirds. So again, starting on my D, I go up a minor third. So a minor third from D, it's gonna have that minor sound to it. Major third would be F sharp, but we're doing blues, so minor third. Then I'm going to go up a whole step, so G, 2 half steps. Then I'm going to go up a half step, so the very next key, up another half step, up a minor third, so a minor third from A would be C natural, whoops, and then up a whole step or 2 half steps. So that's how I can build it if I want to think of it in terms of steps, okay? I'm going to give you one now to try and build on your own using the formula. So let's do an F blues scale. Okay, we'll do F blues scale. So you'll start and end on your F. I want you to pause the video. You can either mark the keys on your keyboard using something like this, or you can write it on a staff too. Pause the video and then we'll check our answer together. All right, so your F blues scale should look like this. Did you get it correct? Remember our formula. First formula is root, flat 3rd, 4th, flat 5th, 5th, flat 7th, and then the root again. Or you can go F, minor 3rd, whole step, half step, minor 3rd, whole step, okay? Now I know that seems pretty technical. And then if you want to actually play this scale to hear what it sounds like, this is what it would be. And you can experiment with the rhythms a little bit. You get the idea. So you can kind of play around with it. So that's the formula for building the blues scale. What I'm having you do in this lesson is you're going to practice building the blues scale now using this staff. And you can practice building it on the keyboard first and then writing it on your staff if you like, for lots of different blues scales. And then you're going to experiment with playing those blues scales. You can just play them up and then play them down again. Do fingering that makes sense and that works for you. I just want you to get comfortable with a little bit of how they sound and how they feel under your fingers, because in our next lesson, you're going to practice improvising using the blues scale. Okay, so be sure to finish the theory here, check your answers, try playing through them a little bit, and then I'll see you for lesson 4.